Earlier this year, Figma announced a update to its auto layout feature. The update did include some minor changes like the way you can order your layers within the layer panel, as well as some more in-depth changes in how you can now structure your auto layout. These changes did get a while for my head to wrap around because I was so used to using the old way, but as soon as you understand it, it actually is relatively easy and it makes it so much more easier to do certain things, like having different spacing at the top compared to the bottom. I mean, game changer. I do have another video on my channel about auto layout, which goes through the more kind of broader way of using auto layout. If you are new to auto layout, then I highly recommend you go watch that video first. That video will give you more of a beginner's grasp in auto layout, and it will save me going through so much more in this video, so go check that one out first. But if you have seen that video already, then stick around for this one. We are going to go into a little bit more about the new changes that come with auto layout. If you're new here, hi, what's up? I'm Gemma and I'm a senior product designer who share tips about UX for free. If that's something you're interested in, then why not hit that subscribe button, turn on notification bells to get notified every time I upload a new video. With that said, let's jump into Figma and let's take a look at auto layout. Now, before we get started, I do want to point out that Figma does actually have a great presentation in order to how to use auto layout. I will link that in the description below, so if you are relatively new to this and maybe presentations make a little bit more sense to you, then check out that link in the description below. Now, when it comes to auto layout, it's about changing your mindset. So when we start thinking about a card, like for this for instance, we want to kind of take a different approach to how we would do this. So right now this is built with a rectangle. So we would have built a rectangle like this and we would have put in all the styles in order to fit this. Take away that thought in your head and start building everything with frames. Now what I mean by a frame, I mean by pressing A and using a frame. Now having that as your background instead of actually having a rectangle. You can actually use rectangles now, before you couldn't, so maybe this bit is a little bit more redundant. It will make a bit more sense in a second. This is the card we want to use. We designed it, it's lovely, it's crisp, we want some ice cream, and let's say we want to put it onto this app screen. Now with this, it can move around the screen freely and it may make it a little bit more difficult in order to line things up. So I can spend my time, playing about with it, fixing it in, whatever. I can get it to work. But let's say I want to put this card over here. I can spend my time, like I said, resizing, trying to get it to fit, but it just messes everything up. It's going to take a hell of a lot more time in order for me to play about with this in order to get it to work. So what can I do instead? Well, I can use auto layout. Right over here, there's a little option in order to add auto layout. Now, this is allowed us to have 16 pixels between them, and it's also added in some space in there and space in there. So this means that there's 60 pixels between the top and the bottom. And it is also saying that there's 14 pixels side by side. Now I just want to update that. So I want this to be 16 side by side. And I don't want this to be 60, I also want that to be 60. But if I wanted, I could just press this bit here, and then I could even add even more bottom padding if I want to. So let's say for instance I wanted 80, I could do that too. But I actually don't want to do that. But this is why I'm just showing you the slight difference in between the new auto layout update. It allows you to add a bit more flexibility to your design. So if you did want any difference between the top and the bottom, you can absolutely do that. Which is 16, 16. This is off, that's okay because it's on fixed width. So we click fill container and now that's equal all the way around. Also as well, I can put an auto layout on this as well, but this would require me to put this within a group. Because if I put an auto layout on this group altogether, then it's gonna mess it up. So I'll put an auto layout on this and I want that to be 8 between them. And we can also put that within a group and put an auto layout on that and have that with 8 between them. That in an auto layout. Put in a frame, which is going in here. We want that to fill container. And now we can copy the style. Now we can also put an auto layout on this bit. Now again, it's all about building stuff within auto layouts. Now I want that to be 16, 16 and 16. So I can pull this image and put it in. And we want it to fill container, so it fills everything around. Then we want this bit. We drop the ice cream shop in. Again, it's breaking everything because I got it side by side, but I want it down. I can group them, copy that. Oops, make sure that is fill container because we want that to keep to 320. Put this in, copy that, put that in. Again, fill container. It makes it all relatively easy to start building these things. Fill container. And the reason why you do this is because it's all consistent space in between everything. Grab this bit, shove it in. Because we want to group that one. Put an auto layout on that. And we want that to be 8, 8, 8. Same with this one, group that one, auto layout, and we want that to be 8, oops, 8, 8, and same for this one, group that, auto layout, 8, 8, 8, and then we can name this pill. And then, like I know you're gonna guess it, we're gonna group it. And then we're also gonna add an auto layout to that. And we want that to be 16. Okay, and then we'll rename that to pills. So now we can drop this in as well. And we want it to fill container. So now it fits lovely in between everything. And then we also want this button, so we'll drop that in as well and fill container and drop that underneath. So now we have a nice ice cream card which is fitting in with everything else, and now all we need to do in order to put this all together is, you guessed it, another frame. So add in a frame. We want that to be 320 because that's the width of this. Gonna pull the container card and shove it on here. Gonna pull the status bar and we're gonna shove that on here as well. I know it all looks messed up, give me 1 second. Gonna pull this and we're gonna shove this on here as well. And you guessed it, we're gonna add an auto layout to this, but we don't want any space in between them. And now we can call this app. Let's say I want more cards. That's really easy to do. Just copy, Control V, and we paste it right underneath, meaning that I can keep adding these. But all my spacing is always consistent. And that is why auto layout is so good and so easy to use. So from a developer's perspective, they'll be able to build this relatively easy. And this has also helped in order to change your mindset for you to be able to design for developers to build. Now, I hope you found this video helpful and useful. And if you did, then please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you use auto layout. Is there something you ever use? Is this something you are going to use? Is this something you find beneficial? Developers, if you're out there, then let me know if auto layout works for you, or if you use Figma. Any designers who set up auto layout, let me know in the comments below if you find it super useful when you're building designs. And that's it. If you like this video, then please don't forget to like and subscribe and drop a comment in the comments below. I am really trying to grow this channel, so anything you do to help will be super grateful. I also offer one-on-one mentoring sessions over on my Super Peer. If that's something you're interested in, then there's a link in the description below. And last but not least, if you want to follow me over on Instagram, you can do so here. And until next time, bye!